My book is a study in trans joy, focused through one particular individual. A woman, a trans woman, called Eleanor Reikener, sometimes called John Eleanor Reikener. She lived in London in the Middle Ages, and she only appears in one place. She's on record as being on trial with the Mayor of London, and she tells of her life and her adventures as an embroiderer, as a seamstress, as a sex worker, as someone who openly had sex with priests and nuns. And here's the thing, maybe she didn't exist. Maybe she was invented as a cautionary tale. And what I try and do in this collection is take this person from a deep archive where generally trans people like me don't exist. And I try and help her breathe again and imagine her in all sorts of situations, sometimes with her contemporaries. Eleanor among the saints. There were lots of female saints living at the time that she was, but also imagining her in the modern era as trans people like me perhaps face some of the toughest times we've ever faced in the UK in terms of public sentiment and social media hate. So if someone picks this up, I hope that they can find their way into an imaginary world of myth, but also of truth, in which someone like me, an old trans person, I was recently called a trans elder, can locate an archive, something to cling on to in a world that seems to be falling off the cliff when it comes to love and respect towards people like me. So I think that's what I hope people will find. And I hope it will enable anyone, no matter what they think about gender or sexuality, to discover that at the edge of words, the edge of what's sayable, the edge of what poetry can do, that there's a sense of openness and promise and new discovery. I have this thing where I want to be lyrical. So, of course, I love those people who can do those stop the clock moments, those sort of modern lyric writers. And gosh, I mean, when I was a really forming poet, when I was just beginning, someone like Sharon Olds with her rawness really helped me, but she had that gift for the line which simply takes your breath away. But I love modernism as well. You see, for me, the slipperiness of language and of words is a place of joy, really. It's not something to be afraid of. So if we think of poetry as some kind of solution to something, I want to know what the question is first. And I mean, if the question is, how do we come to live well, live better, live with a kind of trust and joy in mess and slipperiness, then maybe poetry is the answer. But if we're thinking of poetry as a way of trying to nail down meaning and fix stuff, I think we're onto a loser, really. When I received the news, highly hush-hush confidentially from my publisher, I saw the email, I was paralysed in front of the screen. And if I didn't trust the people who'd sent it, I would have thought it's a wind-up, a total joke. I'm not usually short of words, and I was speechless. And in some ways, I feel it's just beyond humbled. And if that sounds pious, then so be it. This is the most extraordinary thing. And as soon as I got the news, I just wanted basically to run around the house and do a very, very silly dance. And I quite often do that. I live alone. It's one of the privileges of living alone. But also I wanted to get on the blower to my mum immediately, but I thought, no, I am going to hold it all in until the official announcement. And frankly, my whole body nearly burst into 1,000 pieces trying to hold it in. So it's just extraordinary. I mean, to be shortlisted with these extraordinary poets, many of whom I have admired for many years, but also the lineage of this prize. Yeah, enough said before I make a complete fool of myself.